Hello, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. Okay, so I was in this group the other day. It was a small group, and they were close friends. And they were talking about something. And I thought, man, I've got the scoop. I can give them the down low on what went on in this person's life. And I thought to myself, I shouldn't say this, but, and then it hit me like a lightning thunderbolt. That ain't right. Anytime in your brain you're saying, I shouldn't say this, but those words should not come out of your mouth. If you shouldn't say it, don't say it. Here's the deal. The tongue is an interesting creature that seems to want to take on a life of its own at times. And it comes out in unusual ways, frequently with gossip, getting the dish out, being the one who knows and the one who shares. Oh, we can dress it up in pious language like, hey, you need to be in prayer for so-and-so because fill in the blank. But somewhere deep down inside, there's just this desire sometimes to gossip, and we need to get rid of it. It's really not what we need to be about. James talks about this a lot in his New Testament letter. Now, James was the brother of Jesus. And in James chapter 1, verse 26, he says something that you almost want to read real fast because you don't want to pay too much attention to it. It can disturb you if you do. Here's what James 1:26 actually says. If anyone thinks he's religious and doesn't control his tongue, this person's religion is worthless. Think about that for a minute. If anyone thinks they're religious, but they don't control their tongue, their religion's worthless. That's gossip. That's speaking out in anger, where you basically assault someone with your tongue. You just destroy what they feel like. It's making people feel small. It's making people, it's just not what we need to be doing. The tongue can build or destroy. And we want to use our tongue to build. Later on in James, in the 3rd chapter, he talks about how you can take just a small little bit and put it into the mouth of a huge horse. And when you control the mouth of that horse, you control where that horse goes. He talked about how if you take a huge ship, a massive boat, it's got a small little rudder, but that rudder will control where the ship goes. In the same way, the tongue is a small part of the human body, but it can determine how we are used. It can do something monumentally good. It can build people up. It can encourage people. It can exhort people. It can enthuse people. It can motivate people, or it can tear people down. James finishes that passage, almost finishes it, in James 3, verse 10. He says, from the same mouth comes blessing and cursing. Then he says, my brothers, these things ought not to be so. That, by the way, is New Testament Greek from James. In Lubbock, we would have translated that ain't right. These things ought not to be so. And that's where we are. We've got to make a decision on how we're going to use our tongue. Are we going to speak words seasoned with grace, like Paul talks about? Are we going to speak words of destruction that gossip and backbite and sow discord? Are we going to speak words of harsh, bitter anger? I hope not. I want to be a builder. I want today to get some measure of control over my tongue so that it says good things. And if I've got that moment where I'm going to say, I shouldn't say this, but I just want to shut up and not say it. I want to do right by the Lord with my tongue today and let him use me to build. I want you to join me in that. Tomorrow we'll talk about another that ain't right that I've noticed, at least in my own life. Meanwhile, have a blessed day.